All right, everybody can have a seat. Thank you. We got it?
Very quickly, we do have the video. We're going to ask your permission to have Ms. Walter follow along, and that if by some unforeseen chance, one little thing slips in, we're going to hit kill switch, just in case. I mean, we checked it the closest we can, but we did just do last minute redactions. So can she have your permission to sit over there, just in case we have to stop the video?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And then the good news is, or
Well, be sure my kill switch is up on here.
yes, sir. I did put the newly revised redacted transcript in the electronic box. And then the other thing, Judge, so that we can finish with this witness, is we've gone back over the jail calls with Mr. Strolla. And the phrase is thug life gangster rap music, and it's there's a lot to both of these calls that we don't believe we can either agree to a stipulation on or be able to play those portions of it. So we just agreed that because Rhonda Rauer has already testified that he said, "I hate that thug music," that we'll be satisfied with that. Because we don't believe the stipulation could accurately portray the calls, and we think the calls, if
Slippery slope, Judge.
we do. We just both believe after looking at them again that we would have the right to impeach the defendant with those, but that it's not worth the risk.
Okay, so this will play and, well, we need a detective, and then that's going to be it?
Yes, sir?
And so we're going to go all the way through this trial without one jail call?
Well, Judge,
I never. Thank God I'm still standing. All right. Make sure my kill switch is over here. I got it. And so bring the jurors on in. All right. That's the last break of the day, till we get to the end of the day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a seat. The state has, I believe, another witness.
Detective Mark Muser.
Detective Muser, please. Detective, if you'll come forward, we'll have you sworn in again. It's been a couple of days. If you'll raise your right hand, the clerk will administer the oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you'll come right around and have a seat for us, sir.
May I proceed?
Yes, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
Geiger, right ahead.
Good afternoon, Detective. Will you again please tell the members of the jury your name?
Detective Mark Muser?
And you were assigned as the lead detective in the case of the state of Florida versus Michael Dunn?
Yes, I was.
All right. I believe you said earlier that you had traveled to Brevard County on the mid-afternoon of November 24th, 2012.
Yes, I did.
While you were in Brevard County that day, did you make contact with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And you previously identified him in court?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you interview the defendant that afternoon?
Yes, we did.
And were you with anyone when you interviewed the defendant?
Myself and Detective Oliver.
All right, and that's Detective Oliver, your partner?
Correct.
All right, where did the two of you interview the defendant?
I was at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office in Melbourne, Florida.
And where specifically within the sheriff's office?
I believe it was in their one of their interrogation rooms.
All right, and approximately what time did the interview begin?
Approximately 3 p.m.
And in your law enforcement career, approximately how many times have you participated in the interview of a suspect?
I would guess between 50 and 75 times.
All right. Was your interview of the defendant audio taped and videotaped?
Yes, it was.
All right. And was the interview taped from start to finish?
Yes.
All right. At any time during your interaction with the defendant, did either you or Detective Oliver promise the defendant anything in exchange for getting him to speak with you?
No, we did not.
At any time did either you or Detective Oliver threaten the defendant either physically or verbally to get him to speak with you?
No, we did not.
Prior to asking the defendant any questions about the shooting at the gate station, did you advise him of his constitutional rights?
Yes, we did.
And how did you do that?
We have a constitutional rights form that we go over with him.
Your Honor, approach the witness.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you 8T. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
This is the constitutional rights form that we went over with Mr. Dunn.
And how do you recognize it to be the same?
It's my signature, and it's got the red dot in the upper corner, indicates it's the original.
Did the defendant sign as well?
Yes, he did.
All right. Okay, at this time, I would ask that 8T be moved into evidence. I think we're on 203.
I think so, Mr. Stroller.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be received as State's Exhibit 203.
All right, Detective Muser, let me now hand you 203. And just from there, if you would, just explain to the members of the jury how you use that form to advise the defendant of his constitutional rights.
Yeah, it's standard procedure. I will have the individual read the top line referring to his rights under the United States Constitution just to make sure that he can read and write. And then I will read each line of his rights out to him, and I will ask him if he understands his rights, ask him if he has any questions, and then he will sign the form indicating that he does understand his rights.
All right. And did the defendant indicate that he understood his rights?
Yes, he did.
And he did sign the form?
Yes, he did.
All right. Did you then question the defendant about the events of the previous evening, that is November 23rd, 2012?
Yes, we did.
And among other questions, did you ask him whether or not the music was on in the red SUV when he pulled up?
Yes, we did ask him.
And what was his response?
He stated it was not on when he pulled up.
Did the defendant refer to the occupants of the red SUV early in the interview?
Yes, he did.
And what term did he use to refer to them?
He referred to them as kids.
All right. At some point during that interview, did you ask the defendant for consent to search his car?
Yes, we did.
And did he provide that to you?
Yes, he did.
All right. And at the court's instruction, are you aware that certain portions of the defendant's videotape interview have been redacted?
Yes, I am aware.
All right. And, Your Honor, at this time, I would ask the court to read an instruction regarding the same.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, I believe you're going to see a videotape with audio, and you are going to be able to see that. I'm instructing you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view or consider this evidence. The same holds true for the video portion and the audio, obviously, since they're kind of hand in hand.
And Judge, with that, the state would ask then to publish State's 204, the redacted interview of the defendant.
All right. Any objection?
Not a statement.
All right.
And Judge, it might help to advise the members of the jury that because of the redactions, there are portions where the audio and video are somewhat out of sync.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And that was the point of that formal instruction, but you'll see it. It'll come up on your monitors, and you will see that it'll look like it was edited. It's pretty simple. And so if you see something like that, that's what happened. So it'll look a little chopped up, so to speak, in certain places. Don't concern yourself about that. The rest of it you should be able to see and hear fine, okay? Go right ahead.
What was your name again?
Wayne,
My name Mike.
how you doing, Mike?
Like I said, I've been better.
I guess. Hey, so we're just gonna be waiting for the detective from Jacksonville, the sheriff's office up there.
I hope I can satisfy him.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. We're just gonna keep you tucked in here. Unfortunately, this is where we'll be staying for a little while, okay? If you gotta use the bathroom, I am right outside here, okay? I'll be in and out, checking in on you, just making sure everything's okay, okay?
Thank you.
And Agent Hall,
I don't have an actual candy bar for you, but I do have these,
Perfect.
and that's what I eat, so.
Thank you very much. Guys have a magazine or anything? Oh, you're gonna stay in?
Maggie, I'll be right back. You want to eat a little bit, and I'll be right back then, okay? I will be.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Detective Oliver, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. This is Detective Muser.
Hey, I spoke to you earlier today.
Okay.
Have a seat.
Sorry to be meeting you guys under crazy circumstances.
It happens. It happens. Obviously you know why we're here and what we, need to talk to you about. Okay. But I'm going to go over, before we talk to you though, I do want to advise you of your rights. Okay, make sure you understand those rights. Okay. I know this is going to be a stupid question, but don't get offended. This is a standard one. You can read and write, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a standard question. I assumed you could. Just to verify that you can, just do me a favor and read this top line out loud right here.
You have the following rights under the United States Constitution.
Okay. The rest of these I'm just going to read out to you. If you have a question about anything, you just ask me. Okay? You do not have to make a statement or say anything. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you make a statement or before any questions are asked of you, and to have the lawyer with you during any questioning. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questions if you wish. If you do answer questions, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time and consult with a lawyer. Okay? Do you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you could just sign where it says signature, and by signing there, you're just acknowledging that I went over your rights with you and that you do understand your rights. Okay. This is Brevard County, right?
Right.
Yes.
I'm using 1500 mark.
Okay. Just going to get some basic info from you first, if we could. And it's Michael, correct?
Yes, I go by Mike, but
You
my
go by Mike, okay.
given name is Michael.
Your name is Michael? Okay.
Michael.
What's your middle name, Michael?
David.
David. And it's Dunn, D-U-N-N?
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Okay. And what's your birthday?
12/10/66.
And what's your current home address?
It's 257 Ocean Residence Court. That's South Patrick Shores. 32937, I believe.
What's that city again? Ocean.
Ocean Residence Court,
Okay, and what's this? Where is?
South Patrick Shores.
You have a cell phone?
I do.
Okay. What's that number?
It's area 772
Mm-hmm.
201 1362.
Where do you currently work at?
My mom and dad have a business, computer software. It's called, we want to know where. It's in Vero.
Vero Beach?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's Spirit Software.
Okay. How long you been working for them? How long you been working for them?
Oh, off and on a long time, but this last stint since September of '04.
Okay, so a little while.
Quite a while.
Okay. Are you from this area originally, or?
I was born in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Was around Port St. Lucie for a while, and then moved to the Keys, back out to California, and then back to Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
You a Vikings fan?
I was, and then when I lived in California, I was a 49ers fan,
Mhm.
and now I'm a Bucks fan. And the Jaguars.
Yeah. None of us are Jaguar fans. No, there are no such thing.
Anybody who plays the Dolphins.
Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. Obviously, I just kind of want to talk to you about what occurred last night up in Jacksonville. but I'd like to kind of back up to, when did you come to Jacksonville?
Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving Day, okay. And what was the reason you came to Jacksonville?
My son was getting married on Friday.
Oh, okay, he was getting married on Friday.
Yeah, and we have a small dog that we were going to travel with,
Mhm.
and the check-in time was right around the time of the wedding on Friday, so we thought we'd go up early
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday just to be there already.
Okay, what time was so you came up Thursday, where were y'all staying?
We were staying at the Sheraton,
Okay, do you remember where?
Deerfield, but I'm
Sheridan off Deerfield?
Yes.
Okay. Friday, just, what time was the wedding at?
4.
4? Okay. So during the day, you're just getting prepped up for that, getting ready for that. Where was the wedding at?
Is there Orange Park? Is that someplace close by?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Orange Park, an old house.
An old house.
1970s house right on the...
On the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice ceremony.
Okay. About how long do you stay there?
I don't know, but we were on our way back to the hotel when we stopped at that store.
Okay. And let me back up for a second, just back to today. Let me just so I can verify a couple. Are you you take any prescriptions or anything like that? Any kind of?
I do, but it's anti-inflammatory for
Okay.
my lower back.
Lower back pain. Okay. You never been diagnosed with any kind of mental health issues
No,
or
sir.
anything like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I hold a CWP. I've been on private pilots. I'm good upstairs. I'm
Okay.
a computer programmer.
Okay. Any alcohol or drugs today?
No, sir.
Okay. Just have to make sure, just kind of want to make sure you and I can just make sure we're having a lucid conversation is all.
I don't have much sleep.
You don't have to tell us.
Reading the news reports, what the aftermath was. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Okay. Well, I can understand that. I can understand.
We haven't had any either.
So, yeah, we're right there. We're right there with you. Okay, so you go to the wedding, and you guys are headed back to the hotel. Do you remember the route you were coming? Do you know the name of the roads that you were on, or
On my phone.
you just follow the directions on
Yeah.
the phone? Okay. And you decided
95, get off on wherever to,
95 up to probably Bay Meadows,
that sounds familiar.
and then hang a left on South Side, I think, or you keep going on Bay Meadows. I'm trying to remember.
I think we, whatever road we were on, we went straight until we turned down to Deerfield.
Okay. Okay. So you pull into the gas station. Okay. What was the purpose of stopping at the gas station?
My fiance wanted to stop and get a bottle of wine and some chips.
Okay. What's her name?
Rhonda.
Rhonda. What's her last name?
Rower.
Rower. Okay. So just kind of walk me through, just tell me from your point of view, what you guys pull up, you're driving, now it's your car, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're driving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a Volkswagen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Rhonda's with you, she's sitting in the passenger seat, no one else in the car with you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just kind of walk me through kind of what happened at that point.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say this, but Rhonda got out. She's in the store, and there's like a SUV next to us, and then the music starts. And I roll down my window, and I thought I was polite. I asked them nicely. I didn't demand. I didn't. Or else I said, hey, would you guys mind turning that down? And they shut it off. And I was like, thank you. Cordial.
Right.
Everything's cordial. I put my window back up. I'm doing my stuff. And I don't know how many kids are in that, but the windows are down for the back seat. The windows are up for the front seat.
Okay.
And the guy that was in the back is getting really agitated. And my window's up. I can't hear everything he's saying, but, there's a lot of fuck him and fuck that and fuck that bitch. And then the music comes back on. And, I'm just like, live and let live and don't need any trouble. And I don't know if they're singing or what, but it's like they're saying, kill him. So I put my window down again, and I said, excuse me, are you talking about me? And it was like, kill that bitch. And, you know, I'm still not reacting, but then this guy, like, goes down on the ground and comes up with something. I thought it was a shotgun. And he goes, "You're dead, bitch," and he opens his door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm shitting bricks. But that's when I reached in my glove box, unholstered my pistol. I mean, I practiced this. I'm at the Fort Malabar Rifle and Pistol Range. I'm an avid, you know, gun guy and all that. No military training or anything, but I have friends who are in the military that show me the
proper way.
Yes, and so quicker than a flash, I had a round chambered in it, and I shot.
Okay. Do you remember how many times you shot?
4.
Okay. Okay, just keep walking me through kind of
All
what you
well,
remember.
I shot 4 times, and that SUV pulled out, and like I said, in my mind, they got a gun. And so, you know, not training, just from, I was still scared. And so I shot 4 more times as they were fleeing.
As they were fleeing?
Yeah, trying to keep their heads down to not catch any return fire.
Okay. All right, and then...
And that was it. I mean, I still didn't feel safe. I thought, you know, there was another car. I didn't know. I mean, I'm in a strange town, in a strange area. I just had my life threatened. The love of my life is in the store. And she doesn't know what's going on. She come outside to see what was up. And I was just like, get in the car. We have to go. I just didn't feel safe there. In fact, we had plans, in fact, a fairly expensive bed and breakfast paid for in St. Augustine. And, you know, after what happened last night, and we were like, we have to go home and call the local sheriff and tell him what's up.
Well, where'd you go after
we went right to our room.
You went right to the hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't leave. We were just like
in the hotel
shitting
room?
bricks waiting for another carload of thugs to come. I mean, I'd never been so scared in my life for somebody to be, you know, I thought they were singing, like, "You're gonna die, bitch." I thought that, you know, and then it's getting a little louder. That's when I put my window down and was like, you talking about me? And that's just like, "You're dead. You're dead, bitch."
Okay.
So I went over this a million times, and what I should have done is put the car in reverse. But a shotgun come up or whatever, it was fight or flight. I don't think there was any time for flight at that moment. I was going to get shot.
Okay. So they pull out, as you said, you shoot to kind of keep their heads down as they're pulling it. That kind of your intention? That's your thought process?
They have a shotgun aimed at me, and
Okay.
I don't want them shooting at it.
Okay. And then Rhonda comes, gets in the car, you guys leave and drive and go back to the hotel room. Okay. And you guys just stayed in the hotel room at that point? Did you go anywhere else?
No, we ordered out. We got pizza.
Pizza. And what time did you check out this morning?
8, I
8.
think. When you called early this morning, we had just got home, and I unpacked a few bags, and our neighbor just down the way is a real good friend of ours, and he's in the government in some capacity. Well, he's in law enforcement. I don't know which branch.
Right.
But we were going to go, you know, talk to him, and like, do you know anybody in the sheriff's department that we could talk to? Because, you know, I didn't want it to happen the way it did. The way it did is sheriff came with AR-15s, and so I was trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, I give up. But that's where you called
Mhm.
when I was out the door to go,
Yeah, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know at the time that they had actually been, they were actually responding before I even got on the phone to them. So when you and I were talking, unbeknownst to me, they were already alerted to your presence there. So,
well, maybe my neighbor. Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, because, I told me.
Right. That's why I said I was being honest with you when I said I'll give you 5 minutes to, kind of, like you said I'll be out the door in 5 minutes. I said, okay. The gun, is it your gun?
Yes, it's a gun I've had since like 1990.
Okay, what kind is it?
It's a Taurus PT-92.
Okay. You know what caliber?
9mm.
9mm? Do you normally keep it in your glove box?
Always.
Always in your glove box? And you say you kept it holstered?
Yeah, it's a holster that's for inside the waistband, but I'm a little heavy. I used to carry it, but I'm too heavy.
So now you just keep it in the glove box?
I just keep it in the glove box.
Okay. Where is that gun now?
It's in my glove box.
It's still in the glove box? Okay. In your car? And your car is at your residence currently, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many, do you normally keep it fully loaded? Okay, you keep it fully loaded but not chambered. You had to chamber it?
I don't. My military friends think I'm an idiot, but I just don't.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. You normally don't keep it chambered. You knew you'd have to rack one and put one in the chamber. Okay.
Yes, it's a practice
Right.
maneuver.
Right. No, I know. I'm aware. I know. I know you're in a strange town, and you have this traumatic event happen to you, and I can understand that. Okay. The problem, I can tell you, where we start to kind of get a little wondering is by the time you say you get to your hotel room, you're calling to order pizza. Why aren't you calling us?
I wanted to come back to my hometown to do that, so Rhonda and our dog and everybody were where they needed to be. I didn't want to bring a shitstorm down on them in Jacksonville.
Okay. Well, I mean, it wouldn't, they haven't, I mean, Rhonda hasn't done anything to be worried about. She hasn't.
True.
It's not like, she's there.
Yeah.
There's nothing she did wrong.
I was, I shouldn't even left the scene, but I left the scene because I was still afraid for.
Okay, and I can live with that. Okay, I can live with that. You don't necessarily want to hang around right where the shooting happened because you don't know if these guys are coming back. I'm good with that.
Or if there are more.
But once you leave and you are away from that scene, and you've even gotten to a hotel room and inside your hotel room at that point, now it makes me wonder, because if you make a phone call, one, we find out, a lot quicker what's going on. Okay. The reason he and I haven't been to sleep since sometime yesterday is because we're trying to figure out, all we know is we got a dead kid in a car, okay, and we got a guy who shot and hauled ass. That's all we know. You see what I'm saying?
I do, and Rhonda pushed me to call you guys last night, and I was insistent on waiting until we got around people we knew.
Okay. I mean, I'm just, that's where we start to get a little concerned. It starts to be, and we can speak that I personally have had a case with an individual who was moving to Jacksonville, first day in Jacksonville, and got involved in an incident and felt threatened and shot another person and was in their car, and he drove across the street to another parking lot and got on the phone with 911 immediately and started walking police into where he was. That's the way
I have nothing to say other than
So other problems that we have too, when you begin to shoot, can you honestly tell us that you ever saw a gun inside that vehicle?
I saw a barrel come up on the window like a single shot shotgun where there's a barrel. I didn't see this part of the barrel, I saw that part of the barrel. And it was either a barrel or a stick, but sir, they're like, we're gonna kill you. And then they say, you're dead, bitch. I mean, I didn't wait to look to see if they were gonna point it at me. He reached down and picked it up. And
You
then
say he, who reached down and picked it up?
well, hopefully it's the guy that I hit. Though it
Where
was,
was he sitting when he reached
he
down
was
and picked
sitting
up
in
the
the rear passenger side.
Okay.
And that's the guy that was really agitated. And then that's the guy that I asked, are you talking about you're going to kill me? Like I said, I didn't know what, you know. My window was up, he was saying a lot, but that's what came through. And I put my window down to ask him.
And the music is still playing at this time? And you
Yes, but he is really loud and really animated.
louder than the music that's bothering you?
Yes, well, the music was a nuisance at first. You know, with my car shut and the windows up, and you just hear the heavy bass. And like I said, I just said, hey, would you mind turning it down? And they did. They shut it off, which, you know, I said, thanks. But it really wasn't an issue of loud music. It was an issue of them threatening my life.
But it started from you.
Absolutely, and, you know, that's when I started
And the
telling you
music
guys
was
I'm
playing when
embarrassed.
you pulled up?
No, it was not.
It was not?
No, it wasn't until Rhonda got out of the car and she'd been gone for a little bit. She wasn't in the store very long.
I shouldn't, I'm gonna say she's not in there very long.
Like we said, there's some issues that we have. I'll be the first to tell you there's no weapons in the car. I don't know what you saw.
That's possible when they drove off, they dumped it?
They never left the parking lot.
Yeah, they drove out, circled right back around, and came right back to that spot.
Oh, okay, because
They circled around until they saw you leave, and then they drove right back. Because they saw you leave at that
They saw
point.
you leave and they realized their friend had been hit. So they never left the parking
And they
lot.
came right back at that point.
okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Here's what has to happen. And I know that from your position right now that you want to do everything to protect yourself. And I can't say that I blame you for that. But we're going to need the total truth as to what happened. Not this story that I've had from 7:30 last night till 12 o'clock today to fix up. Okay, because the only thing that's going to make sense to us is the truth matching the scene. And there was the biggest problem we got, the first hurdle we got to get over is that there's no weapon in that truck.
Do you have a stick? Because he stuck something up.
I'll double check it. I don't recall seeing anything like that, really. But I'll double check it. I'll look again. But, you know, obviously our main thing is when we're going through, we're looking for any kind of weapons, any kind of evidence of a weapon, shell casing,
Well,
The
bullets.
second problem we have is that the last set of rounds when the truck is backing away from you, and you put 4 more sets in it, 4 more shots into it. That's an issue. Because now if it's backing away, it's no longer a threat.
Yes, sir, I understand that. In my mind, they had a weapon.
Okay. I can't shoot someone because in my mind they had a weapon.
Okay.
That's the problem. I mean, if I walked up to someone right now and I'm having a confrontation with them and I think they have a weapon, the law doesn't allow me to shoot him because I think he has a weapon. I think you would have a hard time arguing with your statute versus any one of them that they could get out and beat you up.
Well, there's 4 of them.
Even the 4 of them. I think you would have a hard time arguing that the 4 of them could have done anything to you.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this: how were you when you pulled your gun out, say you're sitting in your driver's seat like that straight ahead, how did you shoot? Did you shoot one-handed? Did you shoot two-handed?
Two-handed like that.
Two-handed like this, you come across your body, okay, and you shoot the first, what you said, 4 shots is what you remember, and then they start backing out. Do you continue to shoot through the window, or do you reposition yourself?
I don't recall, but I do remember getting out of my car and taking, like, getting sideways, and I was, like, waiting for the wink, or,
But once again,
all this is,
Okay.
once again, if you think they have something, think they have a shotgun.
they had a shotgun.
You think they have a shotgun. Are you going to get out of your car so they can get a good aim on you? Make any sense?
Well, at the time, I was doing everything on adrenaline and no
But I'm just saying, we're trained to, if we think something is there, to get out of the way.
To get out of the way.
Cover or concealment. So you're telling me that you thought they had a shotgun, but you got out of your car so they would get a good aim at you, is what you're telling me.
Well, I thought maybe they would shoot at the car and I wouldn't be in it.
But the car, your car's not shooting at them. You are. Why would they shoot at your car?
Shadow, they can't. So, honestly, sir, I'm at a loss to justify what I did on the second volley,
Right.
other than to say I thought they were going to be shooting back, and I was keeping them from doing that. And I was in such a panic. Fear for my life, for the love of my life. That I didn't, you know, after,
fear for the love of your life, what had they done to Rhonda?
well, had they been out of their truck doing whatever to me when she came out, they would have, I just assumed,
So once again, we're acting off assumptions.
Because they weren't out of their truck.
They were not out of the truck.
the guy was coming out of his truck.
Yeah, the driver had gone in the store.
No, the guy that I was talking to, the one that I shot, he was coming out of his truck. That's when he said, "You're dead, bitch," and opened the door.
Okay, and at that point were you shot?
That's the point where I went and grabbed my gun.
Okay.
Because I did, you know, everything's fine. They're just talking, and then all of a sudden...
So you get the gun, rack it, and then reassess?
No, I didn't reassess. I
So
started shooting.
you went, grabbed gun, rack, came up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see him start to come out of the door of the truck. At that point, you turn to get your gun. Is that correct? You take it out of your glove box. You unholster it. You rack around, and you come back up on target.
Yes, sir. Fluid motion.
Okay. In the amount of time, he's starting to get out of the truck when you first start to go get your... But yet, by the time you come back and start shooting, he's still in the truck.
He's coming out. I think he saw what I was doing when it was running back in. I don't know. But
See, that's where I'm a little thrown off here. Okay. Because he is sitting in the back seat of that truck when he is hit. Okay? Because the bullet goes right through the door. 3 bullets went through that door. Okay? He wasn't hit standing outside the truck.
Oh no, I know I shot through the door,
Okay, so
driving him back.
How's he getting out of the door if you're shooting through it? You're confusing us.
All right. When the latch is coming off the door, that's when I went to do what I was doing with the gun. And when I came back, I'm firing.
When the latch is coming off the door?
No, when I got my gun out of the...
When you said earlier about when you see the latch, what do you mean by the latch coming
Well,
off
the door's opening, and he's stepping out.
Okay, so and he's stepping out.
Yes, and then
And you go and reach, but by the time you come back and come up just blazing, somehow he's still sitting in the truck.
Well, maybe I'm not as fast with the whole thing as I think I am, but it was...
Or maybe he wasn't getting out of the truck.
No, absolutely he was.
Here's the other problem we have. The guy in the front seat, the front passenger seat, he sees you.
He has a perfect view of the whole thing.
Right.
His window's up.
He sees you getting the gun. So why would he let his friend get out of the truck when he sees you getting the gun?
Pardon?
Why would he allow the victim to be getting out of the truck when he already...
I have no idea. I mean, I think the guy in the front was the reason.
You also know that it was 7:30, 7:45 p.m. and the Gates gas station had several customers in the parking lot and everywhere. And we've interviewed several people. This is the very first time that anyone has told us about anyone getting out of a truck.
And here's where I would have a question too is, you're saying you feel like you have a threat that this guy's got a shotgun in your view. Okay, so you think he's getting out of the car. Okay, so you turn to get yours. If he's unarmed, which he is, why is he going to be...
I don't know, maybe
Now,
he thinks I'm unarmed. The sad fact of it is he's telling me he's going to kill me. You're dead, bitch.
Because you asked him to turn the radio down?
See, that's the part where I don't understand.
And you know what? And I'll tell you...
They were getting really agitated.
I understand it, because believe me, we deal with guys who you ask them to turn their radio down, they would get out of the car and shoot you. We deal with those kind of dudes all the time.
Here's what I can almost bet you a year of my salary on. When you got into a confrontation with those guys, a man of your stature, if there was a gun in that truck, they would have shot you. They wouldn't have had to get out. They would have shot right through. They would have shot from the truck just like you were shooting from your car.
Because you guys are, I mean, you're directly next to
They
each
have
other.
the beam on you. The truck is actually higher than your car.
I'm in front with the front passenger.
And we can tell you another thing from working murders in Jacksonville. People don't get out of the car to be seen when they're shooting someone. They're going to shoot you right side of that truck.
All right. He's getting out of his car. We're this close to each other. He was getting out of his car after repeatedly telling me that he was going to kill me. So, is he going to bite my ear off or shoot me with a shotgun? I wasn't too concerned about how he intended to do it.
Now, and I'll tell you this. We talked to the other guys in the car, and they will all admit, they will all tell us, Jordan, that was his name, said, yep, Jordan didn't like the fact he told him to turn the music down. He wasn't happy about that. He didn't like the fact that some stranger's telling him to turn his music down. He's 17, he's a teenager. Okay? You know what teenagers are. They're a little hard-headed sometimes, especially when they're out on their own. And did he throw some F-bombs at you? Basically tell you to go fuck yourself multiple times? Absolutely. They said, yep, he was jaw-jacking back and forth with that guy. But at no time did any of them say, well, okay, he did say he was going to kill him. Because it makes no sense, because what's he going to do? He's not armed. What's he going to, I'm going to kill you and get out of a car. And we're talking about a kid. They pull up so the driver can run in and buy cigarettes. It's the only reason they're even there. They just got back from going to the mall. That's it. So I have a hard time buying how I can totally see him talking shit to you. I can see that. But to take it to a level that he's threatening to end your life when he can't. There's no way he can. He doesn't have anything.
I didn't know that.
I know.
That's all the reason that you're not knowing that is all the reason why you took your next step too far.
Yeah, the problem is you went from 0 to 100 without ever getting to 50.
I have a guy very irate saying he wants me dead. Well, if the other guys aren't corroborating, I'm sorry, but that's what he's
understand
saying.
too, there's people in the parking lot that can hear what's going on too.
Not one of them. We have what's called independent witnesses.
Yeah, not associated.
I understand. I wasn't sure that I heard him right. That's why are you, is this directed towards me? You're going to kill me?
And that happens to be an exact quote of, are you talking to me? That was an exact quote. Guys in the truck said, he said something to the effect of, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
So that's dead on. Yeah, he was talking to you. He's basically telling you to go fuck yourself, and I'm going to turn the music back up.
Yeah, no, the music was already up, and he's talking, kill the guy.
I just can't understand, if the music is up to the point where you ask them to turn it down, how can you also hear the conversation that they're having? It's not making any sense.
He's livid. He's not talking. He's yelling. And my window's up, and I can hear him. I'm not making out all the words, but then I hear, you know, kill that son of a bitch, or kill that motherfucker, I think is what he was saying.
How do you know it was him saying it?
Well, when I put the window down and I asked him, he said the same thing. Yeah, kill him, motherfucker. And then when he was opening his door, that's when he said, "You're dead, bitch." And you know, when you say he didn't have a weapon, he's on the ground, and you put something up on the thing, and then gets out. I thought it was a shotgun, or a stick, or you know, some kind of weapon. But he's confrontational, and using words like, "I'm going to kill you and you're dead." And I didn't know he's 17. I thought he was a full-grown man. I thought they all were. And in my mind, they're all going to get out of this truck and shoot me or beat me,
You know,
or
had that
kill
been the
me
case, we would
somehow.
have a different argument. Had anyone been out of the truck, walking towards you in any type of threatening manner, we would have a
We were
different...
parked right next to each other.
Yes.
I know you were.
There was no walking. It was him getting out and then he was an arm reach from me.
Yeah, but here, those cars are so close to each other, though. Him getting out, it's going to be hard for him to get out because he's back away from you. His door opens up. He's actually going to be shielding himself from where you are because you're closer up to the driver.
All these things you're saying are great, but you know, see, I didn't analyze all these things. I got the shit scared out of me.
I know.
And some guy's coming at me, telling me what he's gonna do or wants to do. I reacted. I'm sitting here telling you guys I was in fear for my life. I honestly was. I have so much going on in my personal life. The last thing I want to do is be in trouble. I don't want to cause you guys a sleepless night. I don't want to lose my freedom.
This is what we do. Don't worry about that. This is what we do.
Well, I mean, the last thing I'm looking for is trouble. The last thing. I mean,
You don't think
I have
like
lawn...
asking someone to turn their music down in a public place?
Absolutely, that was stupid of me. Around here, I don't think...
If you do process and elimination, had you not done that, then we wouldn't be here today, right?
Absolutely.
Running around.
Absolutely.
Do you think you overreacted?
Well, I think I got the shit scared out of me a little bit, and you know, if we want to say because somebody's dead, hell yes, that was.
Well, no, not even somebody who's dead. Let's say nobody even gets hit. Do you think you overreacted? What if you just hit the car a bunch of times and they drove off with a bunch of bullet holes in their car?
Sir, from where I was sitting, a shotgun was coming up at me, and so I don't want to sound like an asshole, but if it happened again tomorrow where a shotgun was coming up, I think I would do the same. I hope I would
and you know what,
not be
Mr.
afraid
Dunn?
to do the same.
If there was a shotgun coming up at you, we would expect you to do what you did. The problem that we have is that there is no shotgun. That's the bridge that we got to get across. You keep dwelling on the shotgun as if there was one at the scene. If there was a shotgun, a BB gun, any type of gun at the scene. Hell, if it was a water gun that was black that looked real at the scene.
Like I said, it was a barrel. It could have been just a stick, but, I mean, it was...
Could it have been your imagination?
Well, no. I mean, anything's possible, I guess, but him coming out of his car was not my imagination.
Okay.
And it was right after I saw that he started coming out of his car and saying, "You're dead, bitch."
When you went and grabbed your gun, racked it, and came back around, what were you shooting at? Did you acquire a target or did you just start shooting?
I shot at the door.
Which door?
Which door?
The rear passenger.
You shot at his door.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the purpose of that?
Saved my life.
From the door?
No. He was coming out of his door, and I guess he went back in it, but that's where he was.
I just say,
Prior.
hypothetically, you and him exchanged words. He opened the door to go in the store to use the bathroom.
He wouldn't have said you're dead, bitch, and then.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, then I guess I would be in trouble if that was the case. But that's not what happened.
And Rhonda, correct?
Yes, sir.
She's in the store the whole time.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so she's not privy to any of this. She doesn't
No,
see any of this.
She is livid.
She's basically standing at the counter, and all of a sudden she starts hearing gunshots. Okay.
So many gunshots and she leaves the wine on the counter.
Yeah, paid for it, and left the wine and chips. Didn't even take it with her. Because at that point, and was going out the door going something, basically calling your name. Michael. What'd you do, Michael?
She said that the first volley they heard, and then when I got out of the car, they said, "Oh, it's the guy in the black car," and she thought it was me, and you know, she told me this later. She goes, "I was telling them it's okay, it's Michael."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know that
it's
guy.
not you guys are safe.
Mm-hmm.
What guys were safe? It definitely wasn't the guys in the truck.
Well, the people inside the store.
Let me,
I feel really bad about the boys in the truck, you guys. I really do. If I could
and let me,
undo
I'll
this, I
let
would.
you in on just from doing our investigation. We are so lucky. Really, there should be 3 of those 4 should have been hit. 3 of those 4. You could have 3 dead guys right now. Okay. Luckily for the guy in the front seat, his door stopped the bullets. They entered the door, but they didn't go all the way in because the front door's got bullet holes in it. Okay. And there's another one you shot when you were doing the suppression fire, basically, to keep their heads down as they're driving away. You put one in the back of the car. There's several shots directly into the rear of the truck. And one of them comes zinging in through the back and goes right up and hits the sun visor where the driver is as he's driving out. Didn't miss his noggin by much. You know, so we could very easily have 3 victims at this point. Luckily, those guys didn't get hit or any way, shape, but they're all fine, except for the poor guy who's pretty much was dead right there. It didn't take him long. He was gone. It's, you know, and I'm just letting you know, we're just, and like I said, we see a lot of scenarios, and we deal with threatening situations. I mean, it's not, you know, we deal with them all the time where somebody defends themselves. I mean, we do. And there are clear-cut cases where you go, yep, sure did, buddy. You know, you defended yourself. Have a nice day. You know.
But let me be the first to tell you.
This ain't one of
Not
them.
one of them.
Unfortunately, this is not one of them. Okay, because unfortunately, we have between the witnesses, and we even, yeah, they're friends of the guy in there, but they've got their perception of what's going on. But there's other people there who fill in blanks for us, who are independent. And we haven't had anybody even hint to us that one was getting out of the car, 2, that anybody heard any actual physical threats to anybody. There are some F-bombs getting dropped.
Gonna kill that motherfucker. I mean, did they concentrate on the F-bomb and miss out on the verb?
I'm just telling you what people tell us. We ask them, what did you hear? Because I show up at a scene, and I don't know anything about what happened. We just start going, what did you see? What did you hear?
Mm-hmm.
What did you see? What did you hear? Because you might hear something different. You might hear something different, see something different. You know, everybody sees things through their own little, and believe me, we've done this long enough to know that witnesses see things, can see the same thing and totally get it, you know, two different stories when you get it from them. That's why we try to talk to everybody else.
Sure.
Give me a break real quick. I want to check my photographs and see if I can find what that is you're talking about, so I can show you and see if you can remember what it is that you think you saw him with. Okay? Because I got some photographs from him in the car. I want to see if that's good with you. If we can try to figure out what it is you saw, so at least we're not guessing. Okay? Fair enough. I mean, I'm asking you, man.
I'm not real good with gore.
Oh, no. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. No. I'm just simply showing you things that are in the truck. No gore, no nothing like that. Okay, I don't do that. I'm not going to throw pictures of guys, you know, the victim in front of you. It's not my style. Okay, I'm not here for that. But you're telling me you see something in the back. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out what it is you saw.
What I saw came up on, like, where his window's down, come up like this.
Okay.
Maybe sticking up like that. And their window's taller than mine. I can't see
They're a little above you.
barrel, but it was something he picked up off the floor and set there. However, and then he's getting out.
Okay. Well, look, let me find it, and then that way we can clear up exactly what it is. So that way we're not guessing what we're talking about.
I'm not feeling so hot now that you guys are.
Unfortunately, we have that effect sometimes.
Well, I don't mean sick. I mean, I actually am starting to be sick in my stomach. I don't know how I can express to you guys that I was in fear for my life.
Okay.
I've never been so scared in my whole life. I've been mad and my hands shake, but I was so afraid that I didn't have time to think. I only reacted, and I don't know how to.
And understand what I'm saying to you. I'm not there. Okay. You tell me that's what you're feeling. Okay. I take what you're telling me, but I also have to go with what the physical evidence of the scene tells me, and what other people tell me, because they interpret things differently also. Okay. Earlier you said that, you know, the last thing you needed right now was to get in trouble. With what's going on with your life that...
Oh no, my life is great.
Life is
That's
great?
what I'm got a place on the beach. I got a great job. I got a great girl. We just got a little puppy. I mean, I've got great friends.
Okay.
I have everything to look forward to, and there was nothing that would make me want to jeopardize that.
Okay.
There's no reason to want to even attempt to jeopardize what I have.
Okay.
Were you angry last night when all this happened?
Not at all. I just left my son's, my firstborn's wedding. We were in a great mood. We were going to get a bottle of wine and go drinking in the room.
Were you drinking at the wedding at all?
I had a toast and rum and Coke with the meal, but I wasn't drinking, if that's what you meant.
No, I was just asking, were you buzzing at all, or?
No, I'm real, I have a pilot's license.
Okay. Can I get you something to drink?
Yes, please. Water would be awesome.
Water? Okay. Well, give me a minute. We'll be right back, okay? Alright, just real quick, a couple things to clear up with you. What I would like to do is just part of doing a thorough investigation that we do. I would like to get possession of that firearm, okay? So what I would like to do is, it's in your glove box of your car, correct? Which is inside your garage of your house. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have my keys when I...
Yeah, they said you had the keys. What I would like to do is I have a consent to search form for, I do it for your house and your car, because your car is technically in your house. Okay, but what I'm going to look at, obviously, is retrieve the gun that's in your car. Your car is what I'm concerned with. I'm not going to start going through all the rooms of your house or anything like that. I don't care about that. I'll be straight honest with you. I'm just,
I
need to
don't
get that
mind
gun
if
out
you
of the
go
car.
through the house, just don't tear it up.
No, that's what I say, we don't do that, first of all, and I have no reason to think there's anything in the house. Okay? The gun's in your glove box, that's what I'm looking for, so that I don't have to go banging around looking for other stuff. But I want to go over this with you and have you read over it, make sure you understand it first before you consent to it. Okay?
Okay.
So, just read over it. I kind of pre-filled the blanks in there. If you have a question about something, you ask me. You keep I'm sorry, go ahead and finish. I'll ask that question in a second.
I'll find that.
Okay. You just sign where it says consenting party.
Sure. And what were you going to ask me?
Normally keep it fully loaded.
I keep the magazine loaded.
Fully,
but
not
chambered.
chambered, right. How much does the magazine, how many rounds does the magazine hold?
I think 15.
15? Okay, so it's a full size, is it a full size 9?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just like a Beretta, but it's the Taurus. It's
Okay.
made on Beretta tooling.
okay. Because I know they make all the different, you can get smaller versions, carry, the slimmer ones for inside. It's more of a, what color is it?
I think it's nickel.
Nickel? Okay.
It's the only, silly handgun in the glove box.
Okay. Did you remember when you purchased it, like you said, what, about 20 years ago? Is that what you said, early 90s?
Yeah.
Just get it
for like 12, 13, I guess. Oh no.
It's pushing
No,
20
it's not
years.
2000.
It's pushing 20 years.
Yeah, I had it before my daughter was born, and she was 22, so yeah.
Detective, was that your interview with the defendant?
Yes, it was.
All right. At any point during your contact with him at all, did he ever say to you that Jordan Davis said, this shit's going down now?
No, sir.
Is everything he said to you contained in what we saw?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Stroller?
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Muser, have you ever dealt with somebody who's sleep deprived while you're on work?
Yes.
Do you actually work while you're sleep deprived?
Yes, we do.
People sometimes say or do things they normally wouldn't when they're sleeping.
Sustained.
Judge, if I may, it was on the video, it's part of the evidence now.
Well, you're talking in general terms, so sustained.
You don't know anything about Michael Dunn. You never met him until you saw you on video, correct?
Correct. That's the first time I met him.
And he cooperated. He answered questions,
Yes.
okay? Signed consent for his car.
Yes, he did.
Told you where the gun is.
Yes, he did.
Even told you that it was safe, it's not chambered.
I believe he says he doesn't keep the gun chambered.
Right. Were you there when his car was searched by Technician Miranda with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I was.
All right. So were you there when they took the gun out of the glove box?
Yes.
Were you there when they took the magazine out and saw that there's only 5 bullets left in the gun?
Yes.
Now, by the time you went on the interview with Mr. Dunn, he was arrested at 10:30 that morning, correct?
I believe it was closer to 11.
All right. And then we see him on video roughly about 1:40 p.m. Is that correct?
I believe the video is actually, I believe the time on the video is about an hour ahead of the actual time, so it would have been 12:40, I believe, when it starts.
All right. And then it shows there that it's about 4 o'clock when you guys show up in the room?
And like I said, it's an hour ahead, so it's actually 3 o'clock when we come into the room.
All right. So he was there sitting by himself for 4 hours.
That's my understanding.
All right. And isn't it true you ordered the homicide detectives in Brevard County to put him in a room and immediately turn on a video and audio to record him?
Yes, I did.
And that's because in your practice you want to see how somebody behaves and acts before you get there?
No, our practice at the sheriff's office is actually we do door-to-door interviews with all of our suspects. So the video is always turned on to get everything that goes on in that room, no matter what it is.
All right. And again, didn't you tell us before when you testified that it's your policy that you guys don't video or record witnesses unless you get the state attorney's approval here in Jacksonville?
No, sir. As far as witnesses, as far as a sworn statement, that involves the state.
Right.
As far as a witness approval, that goes up my chain of command.
All right. But the state can override that because you took a witness statement videoed of Sean Atkins that night.
No,
correct?
sir. They can do a sworn statement, which is different from a recorded interview.
And again, as an officer, do you ever swear anybody in?
No, I do not.
But you are a notary in your capacity as a law enforcement. Did you know that?
No, sir. I've never notarized anything.
When you sign probable cause affidavits or anything like that, you guys don't sign it for each other? It says, I swear this is true and correct?
No, sir. All of our signatures are done in front of the judge, and the judge sees us in person.
All right. And in fact, you went to the judge about 3 o'clock in the morning with a warrant for Mr. Dunn's arrest for murder, right?
I believe it was 3:35 in the morning. Yes, sir.
And that was about 1:30 in the morning when you met with Miss Wolfson and went to get that warrant.
I don't object to this beyond the scope.
Sustained.
Let me ask you this, obviously, you don't have any law background. You're not an attorney,
No, I'm not.
not a judge.
No, sir.
So any comments about the law and what the law is just based on you being a homicide detective interrogating Mr. Dunn.
Yes, just free-flowing conversation.
Nothing further.
Mr. Guy?
Just very briefly. Detective Muser, this recording was started from the time he got into the room until the time y'all left?
That's my understanding. When I made contact with the detective in Brevard County, I requested that he be placed in a room with video, audio capability, and to have that immediately turned on.
And for purposes of court, those dead areas, if you will, those downtime areas were redacted?
That's my understanding, yes.
All right, like the break that you took was redacted?
Correct.
All right, thank you, sir.
May he be excused? Mr. Stroller?
So excuse you.
Thank you, Detective, you're excused. State's next witness.
The state rests its rebuttal case, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the state has rested their rebuttal case. That means that we have heard all of the testimony that we're going to hear, all of the evidence that's going to come into evidence has been presented. That does not mean that the case is over yet. As I told you during jury selection, the case consists of opening statements by the attorneys, the presentation of witnesses, and the presentation of evidence. And then the tail end of the case involves closing arguments by the attorneys and me instructing you on the law that's applicable to this particular case and that applies to each one of the 5 separate counts that have been charged. So I say all that because it's 20 minutes of 5, and that means your day is concluded. That means my day and the attorney's day is not concluded. We have many things yet to do. We have to go over these jury instructions, which are many, and confer about them to make sure that we get them in the proper form and that they're right for you. Basically, what will happen is I will read them to you. You will have a copy that you can take back into the jury room with you to look at during your deliberations, but we need to make sure we got them right. So my intention is to start a little bit later tomorrow morning to make sure that we get these things in proper order, make sure the attorneys have time to get themselves together for their closing arguments, make sure they've got the whatever little button they want to push to show you items on your screen, get it all in order. So I'm thinking what we'll do is start at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning as opposed to 9. And then I think we can go, this thing will be broken up somewhat. Basically under our rules, you hear from the state first, then you'll hear from Mr. Strolla on behalf of Mr. Dunn, and then you get to hear a final argument from the state. So they can break up their time a little bit, and then I will instruct you on the law that applies to this case. So that's kind of how this will go tomorrow. I just wanted to give you that little bit of information so you have a sense of where we are. Do not, though, still discuss the case among yourselves. Don't form fixed opinions just yet. Again, the case is not over until you've heard the closing arguments of the attorneys and hear the law that I will instruct you on. Obviously, don't let anybody talk about the case to you or in your presence. We continue to live in our little bubble, and so that will do it for today. And I don't think I asked you, but did we have any difficulties yesterday about anybody approaching you or trying to talk to you or anybody seeing anything that they shouldn't have? And let the record reflect they've all shaken their head no and answered out loud no. So we're in good shape there. So you all have a lovely evening, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning at 10. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. We have some housekeeping matters to attend to. First off, there was a motion in limine. Everybody can, in the audience can sit if you'd like. Or you can go if you'd like. There was a motion in limine, defendant's motion in limine regarding miscellaneous photographs that basically related to what I termed jail drawings. That is moot, so I will enter a simple order that just says that is moot because the issue never came up. I dealt with the motion in limine, and I need to get an order entered on inflammatory photographs, basically from the medical examiner's office. We dealt with that. We had those redacted, or those medical intervention tubes and things covered up. So that was taken care of, but I do need to get an order entered on that. The order on, there was another motion about, a motion in limine regarding prior comments that referenced jail phone calls, racial commentary. It did talk about thugs and subcultures. I granted that in part, denied it in part. That was only as to the thug reference. So I'll get an order in on that. There was a motion by the state requesting a pretrial ruling on defendant's character witnesses. That was actually denied, although we streamlined the number of witnesses. I need to correct that. It says granted, the back part of it says denied, so I need to correct this. So I'll get an order in on that. I think that might be it. Unless somebody can think of one that I've missed.
Well, I was consulting with Ms. Walbert. Did you address the photos that I put in the electronic box that had the state's objections to the defense photos?
I didn't address them because they were never offered.
Okay.
No need to discuss it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If I do have another, I mean, I don't know if anybody can think of another motion that was filed that I had not yet entered a written order on. I've ruled on all these things, obviously, but I'll work on getting it straightened out. Mr. Dunn, again, as far as today is concerned, you satisfied with Mr. Stroller's representation?
Very much so, Your Honor.
All right, you satisfied with all the witnesses that were called or attempted to have been called by Mr. Stroller throughout the course of this trial?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else that you would have wanted called that didn't get called or that I didn't exclude? Okay. Any other matters from the state at this point, other than maybe the housekeeping on jury instructions and things of that nature?
No, sir.
All right. I believe the state needs to probably, and I'm not sure you did it, move the DVD in of the interview?
Yes, sir, I believe we marked it as 204.
That comports with the list I've been keeping, Judge.
I must have missed 203.
203 was the rights form.
Okay, all right. I don't remember saying it, but I guess I might have. All right, so then the redacted version of the interview of Mr. Davis will be received as states 204. I will put in a separate envelope the full, I'm sorry,
The redacted statement, Mr. Dunn.
what'd I say?
I thought I heard Davis.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
it's been a lot of days. Mr. Dunn, I will put in the record under separate cover the full version of the video, so that'll be a court exhibit, let's call it 1. I will put in the record as court exhibit 2 the transcript of the full video, and as court exhibit 3 I will put in the record the transcript of the redacted version of the video. So there'll be a written record of all of that for appellate purposes if that's where this ends up. Before we get to jury instructions and closing arguments, anything else from the state that we need to deal with other than perhaps those two things?
Not unless there's another motion for JOA. I don't know if that's normally made at the end of the state's rebuttal, but we're happy to address it.
Okay. Hadn't had rebuttal in a case in a long, long time, so.
It's up to Mr. Stroll.
Mr. Strolla.
Judge, even if I remove the motion of judgment, which I would, just for the record, it would be the same arguments, and again, it's still being enlightened with the non-moving party, it's still the same burden or standard, meaning no trier of fact could rule differently, but again, Your Honor, it's already ruled on that.
Right, and obviously my ruling wouldn't change because now the state's put on some additional evidence that would be even more things for the jury to consider. So, but to the extent it is a motion, the motion for judgment acquittal as to each one of the 5 counts in the indictment is denied. Anything from you, Mr. Strolla, other than talking about the jury instructions and our closing arguments?
Just a point of clarification on the medical examiner's motion to limit, you didn't sustain it, you granted it, where 2 were actually excluded.
Right.
And then I just wanted your order to be clear so there was nothing missing.
Right, there were some photographs that I did exclude, and then others that either I requested or everybody agreed needed to be redacted.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to reconvene about these jury instructions. My focus is on attempted voluntary manslaughter versus attempted manslaughter by act, which is a new term that we've gotten from the Supreme Court of Florida within the last couple of days. The other focus will be on the justifiable use of deadly force instruction. The rest of the instructions are pretty much in order, so that'll be our focus, I hope. And my goal is that we will come away from here this evening with a final set of jury instructions. That's my goal. Of course, that was partly my goal last night, and then I threw up my hands and decided it was time for us to go home. Closing arguments. I made the executive decision of allowing these jurors to come back at 10, just in case we've got problems in the morning about these jury instructions. And based on what the state had said, my thought was if your front end is an hour and a half, that gets you to 11:30-ish. I will then have the jurors eat their lunch at that point in time. That's generally when they've been bringing the food, which they did today, and of course it was cold by the time the jurors got it, so I won't make that mistake tomorrow. Then we would break until about 12:30. Mr. Stroller, you'll be on. I'm thinking 1:30, 2 o'clock, probably 2, somewhere in that neighborhood. State back up after a little bit of a break, looking at 3:15, 3:30. I'll read them the jury instructions. That'll take a while. And then the question is, that could be 4:30. I'm thinking we'll just let them start deliberating and let them stay here for a little while. And I'll discuss that with them tomorrow. And because I can do one of two things. I can tell them that we would go until maybe 7. And if they hadn't reached a verdict by that time, they could go back to the hotel and have their dinner and go to bed and come back the next day. Or I can arrange to have dinner brought down here and just keep going. Not that we have to decide that now, and not that it's going to be necessarily your choice. I do want to give them some input into how we're going to conduct that, because I want them to be as fresh as they can be. So that's how I'm thinking this will work, unless somebody has some big objection right now.
Final statement.
No objection, I was gonna even ask, we could always let that to the jury. They've been pretty good about even trying to work through Sunday, which they didn't. However, I think it would give them the option. I don't want to put it in their heads of,
No, I'd be willing to give them the option. You know, in the old days, I remember being down here till 10, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning waiting on a verdict. We don't do that anymore. I would never do that, but I would let them work later than they have been. It's just a matter of how we go about feeding them dinner. So at some point tomorrow, I'll bring that up with them, and once we see how we're going time-wise on y'all's arguments, and once I get a look at these jury instructions tonight and get a feel for how long it might take to actually read all that business to them.
and Judge, I did send you last night my latest version of the justifiable use of self-defense with case law. I now think I have 2 more cases. I'll forward that to you, but
Well, you don't need to forward it to me. We're going to take a break, and we're coming back in here,
then you should have it.
and we're going to go at it, so to speak. All right? What do y'all want, 20 minutes?
That's fine, Judge. Did you and Mr. Stroller get my email with the new proposed Florida Supreme Court?
You know, honestly, I haven't had a chance to look. That's what I'll do during the 20 minutes.
Like I said, I almost hesitated to submit it to the court, but there is, something has come out requesting commentary. The only reason I suggest court Mr. Stroller review it is there is at least one word that we would go ahead and agree to strike from the standards, although I've always been under the impression that if it's part of the standard and says read in all cases, we're supposed to read every word in all cases. But there's a couple of things in there that you may want to consider, Judge.
All right, well, I'll look at it. The problem is that obviously there have been occasions where judges have read the standard instruction that was approved by the Supreme Court, and everybody agreed that that was the proper instruction, and for whatever reason, mine's changed, that it wasn't the proper instruction anymore, and the case got reversed.
Yes, sir.
Through no fault of anybody's. It's just that somebody decided that instruction, somebody above our pay grade decided that instruction wasn't good anymore. So we'll do the best we can on the instructions. All right? Okay, so it's, let's call it 5 o'clock. Why don't we meet back at about 5:20?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much.